Hello everyone, nubkeks here. Welcome back to Nub Raids. We are on the test server, and in today's video, we're going to be checking out the fusion, Skorid the Halfspawn. And actually, we'll also take a quick gander at some of the other champions that go into this fusion, such as both the Rancid. I think we'll actually take a look at them at the end of the video. We'll dive into Skorid first, so you can see how that new fusion is stacking up. The legendary, is it worth going the whole way? How much damage is he doing? I've got an in-depth damage comparison here. Recorded and done, so we can compare him to some damage dealers you might already have. Ninja and Vulcanen are going to be the two. In Hydra, we're going to compare them directly and see what the difference is. And there's some pretty major differences. I think you'd be pretty interested by the results. Let's take a quick look at his kit first of all, talk about how I built him, and yeah, let's go backwards through his kit. Makes the most sense. Halfspawn, his passive, 10% turn meter when attacking targets without Hex, ignoring 15% defense when they are under Hex. By the way, in context, he is very, very, very much a Hydra champion. So bearing in mind that context with the 4 Hydra heads, you definitely want Hex out there. 15% ignore defense is really strong. You can stack that up with ignore defense sets, with ignore defense masteries. And of course, you can stack it with your ignore defense area bonuses as well in the Great Hall for Hydra. So this actually is very, very powerful. The turn meter gain is kind of nice. It's really a consolation prize. You really want the Hex. Speaking of Hex, Infernal Malediction, 3 turn cooldown when booked. Before attacking, it's an AoE. Puts Hex on all enemies for 2 turns. 20% more damage for each Hex debuff placed. Heals them if Hex debuffs are resisted or blocked. Okay, cool. AoE with Hex, not too bad. His A2, this is the spicy skill that we're all curious to see the damage of. Anathema Burst, 3 turn cooldown, single target attack. Before attacking, puts increased attack on him for 2 turns, and then repeats this attack on all enemies under Hex, and ignores their shields if they're under Hex. Why is this so good? Potentially you're getting a single target hit, and then against Hydra, potentially a single target hit against all 4 heads if all 4 have Hex. That's very strong because Hydra has got a big damage reduction against AoE attacks. So these technically single target attacks are actually really powerful. So yeah, we'll see it very, very much like a Mashald A1, really. If you guys have played with Mashald, it's like Mashald A1. Then Hexpire, his A1, 50%, that goes to a 60% chance of doing debuff spread, taking Hex and placing it on all enemies. If the target isn't under Hex, it'll spread one other random debuff instead. This can be reasonably useful as well. Spreading Hex is actually really nice, right? Let's say Head of Mischief. You'd love to get Hex on that, but it's hard to hit him. If you don't have the AoE ready, this can get that Hex back onto Head of Mischief a little bit more easily. So that's him. Let's look at the build. So I've used basically the same build. We're going to be comparing 3 different characters, Ninja, Vulcanen, and Skorid. And I used the same exact gear set on all of them. Their accessories were a bit different, but I changed them to be as close together as possible to work very similarly. But I have him in 6-piece Merciless, which is possibly better than a lot of people would have. But this is going to be like sort of a best, closer to end game set. Getting lots of attack percent. All of his damage, by the way, scales in attack percent. I did see some people wondering, does he scale on max HP? Nope. It's all attack percent. We're getting more crit damage to hit harder. We're getting a chance to decrease the skill cooldown because, let's be honest, his A1 is okay, but A2 and A3 are really where the power is. And we're getting 35% ignore defense. So when we couple the 6-piece with his passive, and we'll be more consistent with getting Hex up because the 4-piece, 50% ignore defense, which is huge. And that's really it. Total stats then coming in. Got some defensive stats, 6,500 attack, 225 speed, 100% crit rate, 276% crit damage, and 232 accuracy. We're going to be running him on Hard Hydra. For his masteries, I put him like this. So we're going to be basically extending his debuffs. I think this could be kind of nice. It lets him potentially reapply Hex with his A3 if he gets it back off cooldown quickly. So that's nice and more accuracy. Over here, Helm Smasher stacking up even more ignore defense. So when Helm Smasher procs, he should hit super, super hard. And yeah, coming into Hydra, I do have a chunk. Sorry, no, not this one, this one. I do have a chunk of the area bonuses done for Hydra. We've got all of the ignore defense done. So yeah, he's getting all of that extra as well. Let me show you the team that we are throwing in. In fact, here we go. Let me click play. We're going to compare. This is not with Skorid, but this is basically the team. In fact, no, it's easier if I show you this way. Thinking about how to present this in the most sensible way. So we went in on hard. Now this is the team. We've got Razelvarg, Shamael, Ugo, Krisk, and Aestrid. What I've done here is we have built a complete team because he is basically a damage dealer that brings hex. We built a complete team that works, and we can just slot any damage dealer into this spot. So that's what I've done. And we're going to compare, like I said, Ninja, Vulcanen. Vulcanen's very similar to him, and Skorid. So we will see. And in terms of their builds, we have... so I changed their builds a little bit. So Aestrid, I broke Curse Set. I normally run Curse Set. will show you how they worked with Curse Set on as well, if you're curious, right? Curse Set is that chance to... 50% chance to place hex. I said, okay, well, let's take that out of the equation. And, you know, for the hex damage, like who's applying hex when, blah, blah, blah. Let's have nobody else doing hex so we can see a pure comparison of Skorid. So Aestrid, she is coming in like this, no real set. And these masteries and cruelty. We have Krisk. Krisk is here. Again, I broke his cursed set. So he now has only just perception set. He is coming in like this and with these masteries, and he also has cruelty. They both have cruelty. We had Razelvarg. Here he is. Razelvarg. He is in 4-piece lethal, 2-piece speed, 2-piece 1-piece slayer. He is like this. So it's a pretty good damage comparison. Now he is much faster than Skorid, but still their damage numbers are going to be fairly similar. Slight advantage to Razelvarg because he does scale his damage off the speed a bit. He has these masteries. And then we had Ugo and Shamail. So Ugo is coming in Relentless. I definitely want to switch Ugo into Reflex. I think at some point Reflex, Merciless would be ideal. 4-piece of each. And then we had the Shamail, who is in the vault. Of course. Always in the vault. Shamail. There you go. So Shamail... cannot increase my champion storage. Okay, put her in the vault. Cannot hide the vault. Okay, of course. Why would we do that? Okay, great. Shamail. Lovely. The one who's in the vault. There we go. So this Shamail, he's in nothing really in terms of sets. But again, similar numbers. 6k attack, the higher crit damage, higher speed than Skorid. So I think it should be a relatively fair comparison. He's 5-star in cruelty with Giant Slayer. So there you go. Those are the builds. Now let's jump into fight number 1, which is with Ninja. And we'll take a short little look at each of these fights. We won't watch all of them in detail, but we come in here. We have Ninja in this team. I want you to think right now, what are your predictions between Ninja, Vulcanen, and Skorid? Who is going to do the most? I'm curious what you think. Ninja, obviously, you know, everyone just got a Ninja for free, and he is a magic affinity damage dealer who's good at Hydra. So I think this is a really good comparison. Why go for Skorid if I've got Ninja? Now, obviously, there's 3 different Hydra teams, but it also raises the question, if you do go for it, well, which one is better? I thought it was a fun comparison. Ninja, he scales up his attack and his crit damage as he uses his abilities over the course of the fight. You can see there, at the start of the fight, his A3, about 600,000 damage against the head with no debuffs on it. Ninja's got a hard-hitting A1. He's got the random hitting A2 with burns. His A3 against bosses is a single target, ignores defense. So yeah, this should hopefully be a good comparison. We can get like a bit of a vibe for how things are going. But you're seeing here the start of the fight. Let's go up to like 10 million damage, and then I'll scoot on further in the fight. Basically what I did was I said, okay, let's run up to 50 boss turn counts. I'm not going to fully run each team because that's going to take over an hour each time. That's unnecessary. I said, let's get up to 50 boss turn count for each one. We can see a A1 there from Razelvarg, A1 from Ninja. He actually plays decreased defense with his A1, which is kind of nice. Here we go. Now we've got a magic affinity head, which has decreased defense weaken. I've actually gone further than I said I would. We see AoE from Razelvarg, 700k. We'll see what Ninja's going to do in a second. 500k from him, 800k from Ninja. Big A1 right there. Again, 800k from a Razelvarg A2. So this gives you a bit of an idea of where we are. And let's skip on, shall we? Let's skip on. Okay, and we are back with 46 turns on the boss. And ooh, we can see Ninja A2. Do you see that? Ninja is now ramped up a good bit. And man, he was hitting like a truck with that A2. Big hits right there. That's his big move. We got very lucky. It can easily hit the other heads and do almost nothing. He got lucky right there. And he landed a big one against those heads. We're coming up to 50 boss turns. Razelvarg, by the way, also has the advantage, as you can see. He is getting turn meter boosted by Inquisitor Shamail. That's the same across all of them. 1.8 million on the A3 from Ninja. Decreased defense, weakened. Ninja has ramped up. Huge damage. Huge damage coming up to boss turn count 50. We'll go to 50. We'll see the result. Let's see how it goes. Not too much more damage to get. You can see against a non-decapitated head there, he hit, what, 270,000 against the Fear head with one of his A2 hits. The other hit's not doing so much because the heads do have all that damage reduction on being freshly respawned. We should be coming up to the end in just a second for the final results. There we go. Boss, turn count 50, cancel out. And here we go. Let me pause it. Here's the results. So this might be a little bit surprising, seeing as, you're seeing Ninja doing those big hits, but Razelvarg, he's adding up that consistent damage. It's ramping up. And there we go. We can see Razelvarg did 45 million. Again, he is being boosted by the Shamail, and he does have a lot of extra speed. So that's definitely contributing, but it's fine. Again, that's the same across all tests. We're just trying to see what happens when we change out each damage dealer. Frisk, Aestrid, Ugo, Shamail with 26 million, Ninja with 34.8. So there we go. Now, obviously, in a much longer fight, right, Ninja's damage at the start is lower because he hasn't ramped up his passive. So he does a bit better as it goes on. This, by the way, I didn't mention, this is a 5-star Ninja. 5-star. So that's what's happening there. So that is Ninja. Yeah, Ninja with the 5-star blessing. So he has a 5-star Nature's Wrath, which is giving him up to 15% more damage as well, which is a pretty big advantage. Skorid has nothing. We have no blessing on Skorid. So no benefit there. So that's like 15% damage behind. And then we are going to be running Vulcanen as well. Why are we running Vulcanen? Well, Vulcanen, he's got a similar thing, very similar to Skorid. He's got an AoE, but it's single target rather than AoE damage. So again, it bypasses the Hydra AoE damage reduction. Before attacking, he can place Hex. He does more damage for each debuff in each enemy. His A1 can increase debuffs on the target and can do a debuff spread, placing debuffs on all enemies under Hex. He's very similar. He does have a funky passive. Whenever an enemy hits him while he's under shield, he can put a debuff on them. I didn't put any shields in this team, so he's not using this passive. And obviously Vulcanen, here's the thing. Okay, now these moves are very similar to Skorid, but instead of another AoE, which Skorid has, Vulcanen has this thing where he kills one of his allies, he unlocks a secret skill. I'm not going to use that. We're going to just turn that off. So let me get the Vulcanen run up, and let's see how that goes. All right, here we are. Again, exact same team. The only thing that has changed, took the gear off of Ninja, put it onto Vulcanen. Let's go. Let's see. Again, this is an established champion. Ninja obviously is free right now for everyone. Vulcanen is a former guaranteed champion, so a bunch of you might have him. But yeah, let's see. Now, one big difference for Vulcanen, of course, is that he is void, so no weak hits. Here he comes in with his A2. About 400,000 on each enemy right there with the A2. It's a big A2. It's big damage, there's no question. So he has the advantage. He has the advantage of being void, so no weak hits. That's quite nice. He doesn't have the same advantage as Ninja. Ninja had that 5-star blessing, which was basically giving him 15% more damage. Vulcanen does have a 2-star blessing, which is a chunk of attack. Then he's got Lightning Cage. Lightning Cage, really not useful here. That's really just for Arena to protect his shields or to protect Stone Skin if you run him in Stone Skin. It's not doing him any real favors in Hydra. It's just going to make him be targeted by Head of Mischief a bit. Ooh, look at that. 1.4 million on this head right here, and then big damage on the others. So far, Vulcanen, he's hitting pretty hard. I mean, certainly we were waiting a while to hit the 10 million on the Ninja team. We are not waiting a while here on the Vulcanen team. That's for sure. We are just slamming in 700,000 on his A1. Let's see if he does one more hit. I don't even remember. I had to run this run twice because I wasn't paying attention. I forgot to cancel it at 50 turns. I was like watching a video on my other monitor. Here he goes, A2. Ooh, 1 million to 1.5 million on everything. I think the big difference is the decreased defense and mostly the weakens. Well, let's skip on. Let's come to the end of the Vulcanen run. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we are, 45 boss turns, and well, the damage is a lot higher. I think you can see that immediately compared to the Ninja run. We have done a lot more damage. So here we go. Let's see how it is. Again, I know we're setting the stage here for Skorid. Skorid is coming. Don't worry. He's coming right after this. Let's see. Can we get a Vulcanen hit? So Vulcanen, he doesn't ramp up. He just does the damage he does. Now, the advantage here, these are Force Affinity decapitated heads, and that doesn't bother him at all, which is nice. Looks like the damage at the end is going to be pretty low. All these are freshly respawned in heads. Let's see. Head of Suffering is dead. He is the tankiest one. Hex of Blades, kablam, 1.4 million over there, about what, 200 to 300,000 on the Head of Mischief. Not bad, not bad. And here we go. So coming up to the end in just a second. Let's see how it is. 50 turns. Oh, I wasn't paying attention again. I forgot to cancel it immediately. Don't forget, Nub. Don't do it. Cancel it. Cancel the run. I was not paying attention. Cancel the run. I'm pretty sure I did get it. Maybe we got to 51. No, I spotted it. I was like, wait, shit, 50. We got there. Imagine having to rerun it again. So here we go. What a stark difference. Almost 200 million this time. And Razelvarg at 49 million. So the damage on the others is fairly similar, but Vulcanen, compared to Ninja, I think Ninja was about 38 million or something. We'll compare the exact screenshots later. Vulcanen jumps up to 98 million. It's a massive damage boost for the team. He's over twice as good as the 5-star Ninja. More than twice as good. You guys might be saying, Nub, what is going on? This is crazy talk. This is crazy. And I'm excited to see Skorid as well. Well, yeah, so it's like I said, I did my 2 videos on Ninja, and in the Ninja guide, which I did first, I said Ninja, as a general Hydra damage dealer, is a bit overrated. He's solid, he's good, but he's not too crazy, and there's actually lots of other champions that can do better. But then in our second video with Lady Mikage, that is the big difference. That is what pushes Ninja to be crazy, because Ninja's A1 is so good. That is where it becomes insane. So Ninja, without Mikage, he's decent. He's good. He's not bad. He's good. Ninja with Mikage, that's where he goes insane. See, this team, like, number 1, we've got a Hex in there, which is making a difference. But number 2, Vulcanen, he just does more. He's just a surprisingly underrated Hydra champion. Very, very underrated. I've done videos on him before. Very underrated. Let's jump over to Skorid. Let's see how he does. Okay, and here we go. We swapped the same gear. The same gears over onto Skorid. Let's see how he can perform. We've got Ninja at one end of the scale. It's a good Hydra damage scale. We've got Ninja at one end. And again, we are comparing to a Shamail, to a Razelvarg as well, to Aestrid and okay damage gear without cursed, all that. So here goes in AoE, about 200, almost 300k there on the AoE. He's got Hex on every single enemy as well. So that will be the boosted version, right? Remember, he's doing 20% more damage for every Hex he places. So that's sort of the maximum boosted version. Going to be coming in with his A2 now in a second. Here we go. We've got a decapitated head. Here he goes. And there we go. There's one slight problem. And you can see the damage isn't too crazy. Like that extra bounce. This is Skorid. The extra bounce, right? That extra single target attack. About 160 on this head. It's decent, but it's not crazy. But one big problem I found with running Skorid, you saw it right there. When he does his A2 attack, he does not target decapitated heads. He is like allergic. He basically sits down. He goes, okay, my A2. Single target attack, and then it bounces, and then it will basically do a single target attack against everyone with Hex. But the core of it, the first part, single target attack. And for whatever reason, instead of going, there's a decapitated head, that takes like triple damage, let's go. Let's smack that thing with my single target attack. No, here comes AoE, 1.2 million on a couple of those heads. You know, he's hitting over 1 million. That's a big hit. But his A2, he just decides for whatever reason, nah, you know what, fam? I don't want to hit that against a decapitated head. I'd much rather hit something that's not what you make. Here he goes. 600k and then splashing 5 to 700k on the A2. So that's sort of the damage he's doing. He has increased attack. We didn't have decreased defense on one of the heads. But yeah, interesting thing about Scar, because he's ignoring so much defense as well, having decreased defense is not quite as important. Again, there's his AoE, about 900k against this head. The nice thing about him, he is firing off effectively multiple AoEs all the time, right? He's got a 3-turn A3, a 3-turn A2. He's firing them off quite regularly, but I did find it very annoying his A2. So you will see a damage boost if you manually target his A2. Look, again, right there, it's A2. He is magic affinity. This head is spirit. You've got a spirit affinity head decapitated. You've got a single target hit on your A2, and Scaed comes in. It's like, I could hit this decapitated head, or how about I hit this head that's not weak affinity and that has a massive damage reduction buff? How about I hit that instead? Does that sound like a good deal? I'm doing it, guys. I'm going. And you're just like, your head's in your hand. Bearing in mind, this guy, he's clearly a Hydra champion. Raid developers, please. This is a problem with multiple champions on auto and Hydra. I guess they don't intend Hydra to be an auto-friendly content, but let's be real. Come on. There he goes again. He's like, yeah, sure, let me slam the head with damage reduction. Let's go. Let's skip on anyway. Let's see the end of the run with him. Let's see how he's doing at the end. Okay, and here we go. 45 boss turns in. Oh, we actually had someone devoured. You almost broke him free. Almost, with the A1. Yeah, let's see. So you can again, probably immediately you're going to see, oh, wow, compared to that Vulcanen almost did 200 million damage. Doesn't look like that's happening here. It's not looking quite so hopeful, but there's still some time, right? There's still some time. Yeah, we'll see. We will see. Here he goes in A2, 200k. Only one head there had Hex, so it didn't splash to everybody. It's actually an interesting thing, and I will show you comparison as well. Scaed, as your only source of Hex, he's not incredibly consistent with his A2, because heads can take turns. They can outrun the Hex. Whenever you kill a head, or decapitate a head, or when a head respawns, it drops the Hex. So he can be a little bit inconsistent at achieving that extra hit and that extra damage, which is a little bit unfortunate, to be honest. So I did try him as well, running him with teammates with Cursed to see what sort of difference that would make, and I think it's actually worth doing. You can run him as your only Hex champion, but it might actually be a bit better to run him with others. So there we go. So for this run, again, interesting stuff, 147 million. But here we go, Razelvarg again around the 49, Skorid 45 million. So, quick and easy comparison. Let's get it. So from this comparison, in last place for damage was the Ninja, and Ninja's got a large advantage of being 5-star with a good blessing. So Ninja with a significant advantage, 34 million, it's a good bit behind. Scaed then was in second place. He jumps up a huge chunk to 45 million. Again, same gear. It's the same gear. In fact, I think Ninja actually had a merciless accessory as well. So Ninja had a fairly significant advantage. So straightforward and upfront, if you have Ninja, is there any point in getting Scaed? Actually, yes. Potentially, yes. Right? If Ninja is your best Hydra champion, Ninja needs Lady Mikage to go crazy because her A1 and even her A3 have such powerful synergies with Ninja that is a complete game changer. Without Lady Mikage, from my testing, Scaed is actually noticeably better than Ninja. Now, of course, this is not including the curse set, so we'll come to that in a second. So if you got curse sets, remember, the Ninja team had no Hex. This team does. Will that make a difference? We'll check back in a second. But it's a pretty decent showing from Scaed as a standalone unit. It's pretty solid. It's good. It's good. Like Ninja, without Mikage, he's a good Hydra damage dealer. Scaed, he's a bit better than that. So it's not so bad. And then Vulcanen, miles better. Like, it's actually shocking. So much better. Just better damage multipliers, bigger damage. I guess just having the one cooldown with Merciless, I guess synergized pretty well. The cooldown reduction really effective. Void affinity, no weak hits. Vulcanen absolutely he destroyed both of them. And it's not even funny. Like, you can see the damage numbers for the other champions vary a little bit, but not very much. It really is almost entirely coming from those champions. So Vulcanen just blew them out of the water. So if you've got Ninja, should you get Scaed? Yeah, quite possibly. If you've got Vulcanen, you should really just use Vulcanen. It's my takeaway. Now, again, I did the same test, and this one is very interesting when we put the curse set. So I said, okay, what if we put curse sets? What if we put cursed sets on both Krisk and Aestrid? So we're running double cursed set. What happens then? Well, this run, So the first one with Ninja, the damage jumps way up. So Ninja, his damage is still basically the same. Yeah, I think it's basically the same, maybe just slightly more, but pretty much the same. But you can see Aestrid and Krisk's damage jumps way up. Actually, Razovarg did way more this time as well. I think this run, maybe we had a little bit of good luck as well. I'm guessing with the Head of Torment spawning in a couple of times or something, because Razovarg is way, way up. Skorid, the overall damage was lower. Again, there is some luck here for sure. But things definitely become much closer. I think that these differences could be more to like Razovarg's doing a lot more damage. So I think, and Shamail here is doing a lot more damage. So I think the damage differential in this key is a little bit more so due to some luck with the head spawning in. But you can see Skorid, their damage actually is very similar without the Hex advantage. Here, Krisk is placing Hex, Aestrid is placing Hex. So number one, Skorid, his A3, that apply. Remember, it does more damage when it applies Hex. So he's losing a chunk of damage on the A3. He is gaining consistency on his A2 and on his passive. That's nice. But yeah, he's not placing the Hex himself as much. And the Hex damage, is going to other champions, not just him. So his actual contribution has gone down a little bit. I actually think he's probably giving more to the team because he is going to be more consistent with his passive and his A2. But yeah, like if we jump over, hang on, and if I compare the other one, like if we look at this, like he's doing 45 million in that run, but when we add in the double cursed, the team damage jumped way up, like massively up. Not as much as the Ninja one, but it jumped pretty massively up. So yeah, that's the difference. Yes, his damage has gone down a little bit, but Aestrid and Krisk have gone way up. So they're placing the Hex. He's doing more damage. Yeah, so it's quite an interesting comparison. And then Vulcanen, this one, again, we can see his damage is not as crazy high anymore. Again, you've got the other cursed champions cannibalizing the damage a little bit. Yeah, you can see Vulcanen, he's still doing the most damage out of any of these champions. He's doing more damage than any of them, the Ninja. Again, the Ninja team did more. I think, again, that's more due to luck. Vulcanen, I think most like here, Razovarg did 49 million. It's quite a bit less. It's quite a bit less. I think that is pretty much down to mostly luck, which is also meaning that the other hexers are doing less as well. So my takeaway from this, you'd have to run this, if you wanted to get even more accurate info, I think you would run this longer. You would run it the whole way through multiple times on different rotations to get a really big sample size. From what I can see right here, I think there's a pretty clear order of champions, which is that Skorid is actually pretty similar to Ninja. So there you go. How good is Skorid? He's pretty similar to a Ninja. So if you like Ninja for Hydra, I think you'll like Skorid. They're very similar. Very similar. Again, remembering Ninja has that 5-star blessing advantage. It's a big chunk of extra stats and 15% more damage. I actually think, yeah, and I think when you factor in that blessing, I think Skorid is better. Skorid is better than Ninja at Hydra, unless you got Lady Mikage and then Ninja goes crazy. So Skorid, he's a great Hydra champion. He is. He's very good. That being said, there's a lot of better options. So I think if you're a newer player and like Ninja's your best Hydra champion and maybe you don't even have Mikage, Skorid could be well worth it. A good damage dealer for Hydra, plain and simple. That being said, there are other champions that are better, like I said, like Turvold, Vulcanen, etc. There's a bunch of underrated champions that have even been guaranteed champions before. People are sleeping on. Like Vulcanen just demolished them both, honestly. Like again, without that Mikage, Vulcanen's just straight up better than both of them. So there you go. That's sort of my thoughts on it. Now, to quickly check out, let's take a quick gander at the epic and rare champion that are also part of this fusion. So we've got both the Rancid, quite a fun looking guy. He's like a skunk, which is fun. I like the look, so he's pretty fun. He is just a Spirit Affinity epic, so he should not be too difficult to pull from shards. You'll pull him from shards eventually. Is it worth, if you cannot do the fusion, is it worth even grabbing a copy of him or empowering him? Let's take a look. 25% ally HP in all battles. It's a good aura. It's A1 Reek Blade. A double hitter. This, actually, the third buck on this is quite strong. You get plus 1,000 chance to place it. It's clearly supposed to be 10%. Double hit, each hit 25. This is clearly supposed to book to 50% chance of heal reduction. So two chances, two 50-50s of heal reduction. This is a 75% chance for heal reduction on his A1. It's solid enough damage based on HP. His A2, he's not going to be a damage dealer. Like, Yeah, he's not really. Spear Stench, 4 turn goes to a 3 turn cooldown, attacks all enemies, 75 booking to 100% chance of decreased accuracy for 2 turns, and increases ally buffs by a turn. It's actually a really, really good move. And then his A3 Healing Spritz. Ooh, I bet that's a stinky one. 5 goes to a 3 turn cooldown, removes 2 random debuffs from all allies, heals them by 10% max HP, and puts 50% increased accuracy in all allies for 2 turns. His passive, Antibiotic Spray, decreases the damage all allies receive from poison debuffs by 50%. So it's actually pretty fun. I think he's actually a very solid progression champion. I think he's particularly good against, obviously, Dragon. That does lots of poisons. Pretty darn good against Nether Spider. Can cleanse you. Heal reduction on the Nether Spider. Half damage from poisons. Massive for Nether Spider. Huge. Eternal Dragon. He comes in. Eternal Dragon does nasty debuffs. And you could actually build your champs in resistance. Use increased accuracy to have enough accuracy. Decrease accuracy. Then you could actually resist the Eternal Dragon. And heal reduction, the Eternal Dragon heals as well. I've just done a guide on that for hellhades.com, so it's fresh in my mind. Very good for Eternal Dragon. Could be pretty decent for Bommel as well. Decrease accuracy on the boss, so you could resist it. And then like some cleansing healing. He's not bad. So I think he's actually very solid. Very, very solid champion. Yeah, great for Dragon. Really good for Nether Spider with that passive and the cleansing and a little bit of healing. Heal reduction is huge for Nether Spider as well. Eternal Dragon, yeah, lots of Doom Tower stuff. He could be great for lots of Cursed City bosses where you have to fight those bosses. So both the Rancid, I think he's pretty great. He's a great epic, actually. He's kind of niche, but he's really good at that niche. So I'm pretty impressed with both. He looks like a solid champion. Doesn't seem like a champion you need to get multiple copies of or empower. It's like you'll get one copy and you're good. So if you're skipping the fusion, you might as well grab one copy of both, or either when you eventually pull him, he could be very helpful. But yeah, I definitely think for a newer player, it could be pretty massive actually getting both. And then we've got Branch Arm Lazer as well, who I feel like he's a void rare HP. One of the terrible name. Branch Arm. They should have missed opportunity to call him Goathead. Let's be honest. Goathead. I'm not seeing the branch arms. Yeah. 15% ally HP in dungeons. Not what's the point of that? The starter champion gives you 15% in all battles, so that's not too good. Chop, chop, chop. Attacks one enemy 3 times. Each hit heals him by 3% max HP. Actually not bad. Triple hit. Quite useful. Quite useful for smashing down Fire Knight shields and whatnot. Logger's Bane. 4 goes to a 3 turn cooldown. Attacks all enemies twice. Each hit 50% goes to 75% chance of placing a small decrease attack for 2 turns. And puts a shield on all allies, equal to 20% of its max HP for 2 turns. Actually, for a rare, it's pretty darn good. So double hit AoE, 75% chance. I don't know what that is. Probably like 87 or something. I don't know. Pretty darn good. Very high chance of a small decrease attack. This will also work very well with the Blessing that gives you a chance for a bigger debuff. Actually great for him. That will give you a small but decent chance to get a big decrease attack, which is nice. And a shield for your team as well. And his base HP is pretty okay, considering he's a rare. It's actually a great move. And then Root's Roar. 6 turn goes to a 4 turn cooldown. Small version of Strengthen on all allies for 2 turns and Provoke on a single enemy for 1 turn. Again, that's kind of small, but somewhat useful. He's actually a pretty decent Hydra champion early game. He's giving you some shields, small version of Strengthen, single target Provoke on a 4 turn cooldown. You have to manual it, but he's not bad. He's actually not bad. Yeah, he's actually a fairly solid rare. I don't know. Would I go out of my way to build him? I don't know, but he's actually fairly decent. All the Sylvan Watchers rares are like kind of decent. If they're something you need on your account, they could actually be pretty good. So I wouldn't be going out of my way to collect this guy. There's no rare empowerment or anything like that, but he might be okay for you. So again, if you're an early game player, you might find it useful to get 1 copy of Branch Arm and 1 copy of the Epic. Might actually be quite a benefit to you. And this rare, really, really good for the Faction Crypt, actually. You get a Provoke, Strengthen, Shielding, AoE decrease attack, triple hit A1. It's great for the Faction Crypt. So you might grab 1 copy of each. And then, yeah, guys, let me know what you think of Skorid in the comments down below. I think Skorid, he's okay. I might get him just for collection purposes. I don't see myself using him. Like, I've got a Trunda team. I've got a Trunda team. I have, Ninja. When I get Michinaki, or not Michinaki, when I get Mikage, run Mikage with Ninja would be better. I've got Vulcanen, you know, I've got Turvold, I've got Michinakis, I've got lots of other stuff. I'll pick him up. There's no harm in having him for me. You know, collect them all, but gotta be a Pokemon master. But yeah, I think this fusion, he's definitely not a must do. He's not a must do. That's my take. Not a must do. I think the damage comparison sort of says it all. You know, how much, yeah, where are you in Hydra? Is he useful for you? Depends on the champions you have. Hopefully, we've given you a pretty clear breakdown here of sort of what you can expect. Yeah, Ninja versus Skorid versus Vulcanen. There you go. That's where we're at. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see y'all next time. Goodbye.